everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the opening of the CASA Annual Student Archaeology Conference this year in its fourth year at Cambridge. And our topic is diversity in archaeology. As some of you may know, this conference usually happens in September in person, but due to unforeseen circumstances with the pandemic, we delayed the conference until now, hoping that maybe we would be able to have it in person or semi-in person, but that has not happened either. However, we are very much looking forward to this conference and it being online because we are able to open the conference to everyone. And that very much goes along with our theme, which Elif will talk about in a bit. I wanted to start out by thanking the Department of Archaeology at the University of Cambridge for supporting this conference over the past 4 years. We are also happy to have the generous support of the Department of Anglo-Saxon, Norse, and Celtic at Cambridge via their Chadwick Fund. They donated, we won a grant from them to support this conference. Lastly, thank you to our sponsor, Isobar Science, who will be donating money for the prizes, which we'll talk about in a bit. Secondly, a very large thank you goes to our session organizers, without whom we would not have been able to host this conference. For those of you who don't know, the session organizers submitted their proposals for the sessions back in May and have been with us since then, helping to organize, choose the papers, and just have been there as a sense of support throughout all of our wonderful changes. We have partnered with otter.ai to provide a transcript of the sessions. So if you click on the top link in your top left corner of the screen, there should be a live button and then Otter AI. If you click on that, then you'll be taken to another window which includes the transcript of the meeting. This also works if your internet cuts out or whatever. You can access this and see what was said before. So it's a running transcript of the conference. Elif?
Thank you very much, Kyra. Following up on that note, it would be good to talk a little bit about our conference code of conduct as well. For administrative purposes, we request that participants sign into Zoom using their full name under which they have registered for the conference. Sessions are being recorded, and anyone who doesn't wish to be potentially visible on any recordings would keep their video switched off. And the second most important thing concerning the code of conduct is that our collective responsibility to ensure the culture of inclusivity and mutual respect during the conference. As Kyra said, this conference has taken a lot of collaborative effort and tremendous dedication from the committee members and the session organizers. Therefore, we think that all members of the CASA community should be able to enjoy the conference without fear of harassment, abusive behavior, or other forms of misconduct. We also assure our participants that the discussions in this conference will take place in a safe, welcoming, and inclusive environment. Therefore, our committee members will be working hard to monitor responses in the Zoom chat, as well as on our Facebook account and Twitter account. Hopefully, such behavior will be unlikely during our conference. Since we are now done with the serious stuff, let me also talk a little bit about the conference theme, which, as you all know, is diversity in archaeology. The theme was first proposed in February 2020 by our diverse committee, which includes 6 PhDs and 2 MPhils from Armenia, Chile, China, Macau, the US, the UK, Venezuela, Poland, and Turkey. As you can imagine, in the early days of the coronavirus crisis, we were hoping that this was a temporary situation and we could actually hold this conference in September. Yet in a strange twist of fate, here we are with so many of you from different parts of the world who couldn't have been with us if we held the conference in person. We must admit that when the diversity idea first came up, it naturally resonated with everyone in the committee. This wasn't only because we were a diverse group, but because we had all observed how limited the pool of perspectives in our field has been historically. CASA as a student conference is in the perfect position to build a platform that is more inclusive within the field of archaeology, and it can have far-reaching consequences for young scholars. We think that this theme allowed for broader sessions that could accommodate a wider variety of students and topics. As you will see in the following days, our presenters will challenge the perspectives that have dominated the field for so long. Archaeology is inherently controversial, and we all know that. Its roots lie deep within a history of violent colonization, looting, and erasure of indigenous cultures and histories. Coming from distant and disparate parts of the world, the committee feels impelled to overturn the one-sided interpretations of archaeology. We are happy that we embarked on this year's organization with such a powerful theme, which also yielded powerful sessions. As you all know, we have 8 sessions this year, including the panel discussion. These session teams are proposed by even a larger and more diverse group of students from different universities and countries. This year, we received 14 session proposals and 102 paper proposals. Originally, we were planning to accept around 40 papers this year. However, the online nature of the conference actually convinced us to invite more people and hear more diverse voices. Therefore, we accepted 82 papers instead of 40. These papers came from 25 countries and 56 universities, colleges, and institutes. Hopefully, our session organizers and presenters will provide us with multiple interpretations and sun-derived perspectives from their field. We are sure that all the works which will be presented at this conference will make a significant contribution to our field, yet we wish to award those who will deliver the best presentations with Amazon gift cards. Therefore, the session organizers and our committee will be working hard in the background to choose the best presentations. The awards will be given to the best and second presenters among the PhDs, MAs, and undergraduates. Lastly, the poster presenter will also be awarded. We hope that all our audience will enjoy the sessions as much as we do and join us in the discussions. Kyra?
Unmute. Okay, I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the conference. So we're going to start off right after this with Camilla from the University of Cambridge, who proposed this session on beating androcentric narratives, women's voices in archaeological discourse. This session aims to discuss the role of female and non-binary archaeologists in the discipline and questions the androcentered representation in the past. Session starts directly after this talk and runs until 3:10 here on the Zoom one. Papers include the role of women in the past, contraception issues, cross-dressing, and the roles of women archaeologists in the present. Also today, we have Eleanor Newman from the University of Oxford, who proposed this topic on race and ethnicity across time. This provides a space to discuss previously ostracized groups, decolonization, and an area to critique racist narratives, which have historically dominated the field. This session starts at 11:15 today, runs until 4:30, and it is on Zoom too. The papers discuss various topics across the world, from Fiji to China, Thailand, India, Nubia, Egypt, Syria, Eritrea, and Greece. The third session, proposed by Mahmoud and Magina from the Cyprus Institute, talks about archaeological science, using diversified science methods in archaeology. This starts out tomorrow from 9:15 to 3:10 on Zoom 1. This session aims to promote multifaceted applications and methods pertaining to archaeological science. The papers explore topics such as ancient glue, transmission of folktales, the plagues, provenience of marble, and biocultural identity. Also on Friday, we have Eric and Erica. Eric's from Stockholm University, and Erica is an independent researcher. And they created this session called Interpreting the Past Through Others' Eyes, Critically Approaching Ethnographic Analogies, in order to discuss the application of ethnographic studies to archaeological questions. This session runs on Friday from 11:15 to 2:50 on Zoom 2. Papers discuss pottery production, health knowledge, astronomy, animal-human relations, Melanesian objects, and the community of Dharamshala. Session 5, opening up on Saturday, is by Alberto from the Universidad Complutense de Madrid and Jose from the Universidad Malaga, who proposed the session Echoes from Beyond, Diversity in the Archaeology of Death, which will be held on Saturday from 9:15 to 3:10 on Zoom 1. This session aims to discuss human societies through the lens of funeral practices, from the material of the burial to the cultural and social aspects contained therein. This session includes papers on bog bodies, human-animal burials, Buddhist influences on tombs using legacy data, the use of jewelry, and the pathology of bones, among many other topics. Also on Saturday, we have the 3Ds, Diversity, Dissemination, and Disclosure of Heritage. This was put together by Ada, an independent researcher, Belén and Isaac from the Universidad Autónoma de Madrid. And this takes place on Saturday from 11:15 to 4:30 on Zoom 2. This session discusses the aspects of communication between archaeologists and the public, as well as different ways to spread archaeological knowledge across disciplines. The papers range from using 3D technology to the creation of games and virtual reality, to war crimes, community remembrance, public outreach, and new ways of teaching heritage. Session 7, proposed by Caitlin from the University of Aberdeen and Isaac from the Universidad Autónoma de Madrid, are leading a session titled The Archaeology of Scapes, Diversity in Environment and Perspective, which takes place on Sunday from 10:45 to 4:50 on Zoom 1. Scapes are defined as a research into people, cultures, and environments in order to disseminate a sense of place and the range of interaction between humans, places, and technology. The papers discuss environmental scapes, religious scapes, funerary scapes, landscapes, knowledge scapes, museum scapes, and disaster scapes. Lastly, we have a poster session on Sunday from 11 to 12:25 on Zoom 2. We have sent the posters around, so please check those out and come to the poster session with questions. Each presenter will have 5 minutes recap of their poster and then 5 minutes for questions. And then lastly, we wanted to announce the keynote panel. So Sunday from 5 to 7 p.m. on Zoom 2, we have 5 wonderful archaeologists coming to talk about diversity in archaeology. And then lastly, before we start the conference, we wanted to take a conference photo. So to do this, if you want to be in the photo, please turn your video on. If you don't want to be in the photo, turn your video off. I will then screenshot the Zoom links, and it looks like we have 3 different screens. So I'll take it 3 times, so I'll count down 3 times. And since everyone's on different screens, just make sure that you smile all 3 times, I guess.